everybody. Back to you with another episode 43. Diego, back from the Travis Scott
Yeah,
concert there. How was that?
it's definitely interesting. Visuals were amazing. Uh Weird part was, I mean, I'm 24, or no, I'm 23 actually. I'm 23, and I like Travis Scott, like Butterfly Effect, Highest in the Room. But then his new songs are also good, but I didn't know them as well as like the high schoolers there, and it made me feel really old. So that was the only take I have, the only real big take. But it was a
Yeah,
good
it's
time.
kind of weird now. Like I feel like our demographics more like a lot more people are into country music now, and I think especially
Oh
like
God.
we're both in Michigan, right? So
Yeah.
like especially in Michigan, there's a lot of people that like country that you wouldn't think of,
It's very
and
scary.
you're like closer on the Detroit side than I am, but like
Hmm.
yeah, you like I know a couple friends that have like gone back to Chicago to for I'm forgetting the name,
Country Thunder.
Lollapalooza,
Oh,
right?
Lollapalooza's fun.
Lollapalooza, but like that was like everybody's dream during high school. Like people would like sit
Yeah.
during classes and like book tickets and like lunch and stuff. And I feel like now like people who just graduated out of college or like college students now
Yeah.
like maybe they go to Lollapalooza but not as often. So like
Hmm.
we're phase in our life, but like I mean Travis Scott like had some great music,
No,
so
he definitely does. It was
solid choice.
definitely awesome. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say it was bad. Just definitely an interesting experience as a
Yeah.
young adult.
Yep. So you can blame Diego for why we recorded one day late, but
All
it's
my
all
fault.
good. We keep it chill here. So
Yeah.
nothing's gonna stop this train from talking the NBA. But that said, lots to get into. This might be a little bit of a downer episode. Like ideally we like to talk more basketball, but I think like the way the NBA has been called now has been like very, very different. Well, I'm like when I see clips, like, okay, we're both like Chicago, like from Chicago. So like we're well versed with like Bulls and like Jimmy Butler and that era,
Hmm.
and especially Derrick Rose. Like I'm still like
Bro,
visualizing my
bro.
past with like what if we had a healthy Derrick Rose? And
True.
the way the game has been called since that time and then how it's called now has been vastly different. Vastly more geared towards how well you can act, apparently. So we'll
Uh-huh.
have a lot more segments on that and referees and then like staying in shape. So a lot of things that you think professionals would like really make sure to monitor themselves on since they are playing in front of thousands of people. But here we are recording a segment on why we have to talk about these suspensions and like ejections and like
Yeah.
people not staying in shape. So let's stick with the positives. Pacers had an incredible run in the tournament. They ended
Hmm.
up scoring off against the Lakers, but I am really, really impressed with how the Lakers played the Pacers and how they won this tournament,
Yeah.
especially with AD. Like he always has this kind of game where it's like a 40 and a 20. Like every now and then that just reminds you how devastating he was on the Pelicans. And then if you get the same amount of like excellence from LeBron, and then you get like this peak AD performance, how scary that team is for the rest of the league. And I have a lot to get into on this, but what did you see when um did you watch the Lakers Pacers play or like what were your thoughts on that?
No, I didn't get to watch the game, but just looking over like gameplay, and I think I watched the was it B-ball breakdown video. But basically, a big thing about the Pacers themselves is, aside from Miles Turner, they don't really have a real center, and that's played perfectly in the Lakers' hands. A team that likes to play big with LeBron and AD as their kind of five and then four-ish, 3.5 you could say for LeBron. But two guys that can really get in the paint, and that's exactly what the Pacers want people to do. Instead of shooting threes, they're gonna let you go in the paint. And the Lakers, they just ate them up, chewed them out, chew them and spit them out, something like that. That saying.
Punch him in the mouth, right?
Yeah, but they were just cooking in a different way. And I think a big thing is they didn't let Tyrese Halliburton just like run through the court all the time. They had cameras pick him up all 94 feet, kind of being in his way, not letting him play the way he wants to. And any screen, they trap him because he's not a small point guard. He's actually a pretty large point guard. Oh my god, sorry. He's a pretty large point guard at 6'5", but he's not necessarily the tallest. So that's why having Cam Reddish and another big like AD or even LeBron at times was really not helpful for him. So yeah.
No, I think it was one of those classic games where like it was definitely a lot of defensive attention played on Halliburton. I think what really impressed me most was like how effective like the Lakers kind of almost like they played a wall at certain times. I've noticed like on
Mm.
Halliburton
Yeah.
when he would get towards like between half court and then the 3 point line, like so not exactly like a half court set, but like kind of like a almost like half court set, kind of like as far as like where he was located, and that just eliminated all the speed he can use to try and like set the offensive tempo. And I
Hmm.
thought that was really unique. It was very like a Darvin Ham like philosophy on how he would coach, and
Yeah.
that's like these are the kind of games where you see like what Darvin Ham makes a difference for, like versus Vogel or like Kidd or like some other previous Lakers coach that has like had an influence on this team since LeBron and AD have been
Mhm.
on it.
Yeah.
That's been really impressive. What's been really impressive to me, and this is coming from a person who thinks Jordan is the best player of all time, it is not a crime to say LeBron is number two on the list, okay, people? And I'm fully comfortable saying he's been the best player of his era when he's been playing. And that includes like guys like Kobe, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. Like LeBron has been absolutely phenomenal. I'm fully comfortable placing him number one. Like in the league he's played at. That aside, he looked absolutely phenomenal in shape. He looked more in shape than some of the Pacers, like,
Hmm.
on that team. Like, you really saw the speed and explosiveness from him, and, like, he's what, 40, 41?
Oh no,
Like,
he's about to turn 39 in a few
uh,
days.
okay, alright. So,
Even then.
I'm, well, extending a little bit of hyperbole here, right? I'm not messing on his age, but it's it's just wild to me because, like, he's almost like a free safety back there, like, anticipating
Hmm.
where the passes
Yeah.
are going or where Halliburton's trying to go. I'm just like, he shouldn't be moving like this. It's like
Hmm.
it was just wild to me. Like even AD like played with an energy, intensity, and speed we normally don't see from the Lakers.
Hmm.
And I think that was intentional because he knew like the Pacers would always want to play with fast pace. Like they would
Yeah.
want to really like speed up and down the court, like really tire their opponents out. It's a sound strategy what they have going on. It's
Hmm.
just that I think when you go so one dimensional in speed and then you run into an experienced team like the Lakers who can know how to adjust to that and have players that can turn on a switch we didn't think can turn on,
Hmm.
like, the Pacers were just like, "Wait, what? They're faster than us? They have the stamina to keep up with us? What is going on here?"
Yeah.
And that was I think that really played a role into, like, how that game turned out. And then the one thing about Miles Turner, he did go into foul trouble early, so
Hmm.
that contributed to why the Lakers were able to, like, really attack the paint, get the foul shots they need, and why AD was able to dominate, I think. So
Hmm.
that certainly helped, but even if he was on the floor, like, AD was just he was just phenomenal. Like sometimes when he's like going off like this, he's like the best player in the league.
Yeah. Yeah.
The entire issue with him has been like health, and then getting back from health, and then like
Being consistent.
inexcusable inconsistencies where like you're
Mhm.
like, AD, you've been attacking. Why aren't you attacking now? And it's always been the case with him.
Yeah. And I I would just say a quick LeBron spiel. Like this guy's averaging so many points per game in his 21st year. Like I envision LeBron at the twilight of his career, he could still win chips as his like guy coming off the bench. That's how effective he can and will
Oh,
be.
absolutely, absolutely.
So
And and just one note on this,
yeah,
like if somebody comes off the bench now, is that really considered a bad thing in the league? Is that
I don't
really
think so.
like for
Well, it
LeBron or
depends.
like
It
for
depends on
Westbrook,
the yeah.
like like we award six mans of the year, but if we have a guy that's been religiously starting and then suddenly he's on the bench,
Hmm.
like I think it's almost like we make it sound like it's a bad thing when in some team constructions it's probably the best thing for them. Like I think
Yeah.
of Westbrook and Paul and like how they're still able to contribute despite like the known limitations that they have. Like
Yeah.
that's why I'm not like saying it's far fetched that if LeBron was
Mhm.
playing on the bench, like absolutely he can easily win a chip.
Mhm.
Because if he's playing on the bench, that means like the starters are clearly more talented than him, and like he already has intangibles to
Yeah.
he has the intangibles of a champion. So
Yeah.
like
But I'm
if he's
saying
not as
that's
talented as a starter, like absolutely I'm in agreement with you. He can win a chip.
yeah. But I'm thinking that's in a few years. Like I mean, this guy is still putting up numbers. I mean, putting up numbers in a like in season tournament game like this, and throughout the whole time he was the MVP. So it's very interesting that a guy at his age is doing this. And I feel like big thing like the scoring, all of these records he's breaking are gonna be almost unbreakable because he's gonna keep going for a while, unless we like the advance in medicine so far so soon that next guy's up. But we'll see. So yeah, little spiel, but
Yeah, my whole
happy
deal with
about it.
like LeBron has like never been like his ability or like
Mhm,
his like willingness to win championships. I think for him it was just like the Mavs series was inexcusable when it
yeah.
happened, and then like the Heat series when like he needed all this talent to confront the Spurs. Where like
Mhm,
when you watch the Spurs play, yeah, they had a really good development like pattern
mhm,
with their players where they ended up having like a big four almost, and like
yeah.
Kawhi added on to that. But like the Spurs didn't succeed because of that. They succeeded because like they played like a team.
Mhm,
And then you watch the Heat, like the Heat had to learn how to play like it's like LeBron had to learn like all these things, and I get the expectations on him, and he's done a great job like being resilient ever since then
mhm,
with his 9 straight finals. Like
yeah.
even in a weak East, that's still impressive. Like
Mhm,
winning 3 different championships with different teams, that's like really really impressive because that shows your leadership skills like are elite. Like I like having LeBron so high is not an issue. Like for me to put him as the GOAT, like I've always said, like I want to see him consistently have series against the Warriors,
mhm,
Suns, and Nuggets, like as opponents in one full postseason run, then
that'd be
run into a team like the Boston Celtics and the Bucks and win a chip. If he
that'd
can do that, that is worthy of being the best because like he is going against the best competition
mhm,
and proving like to be the best, you got to beat the best. And at his age, that would make a stronger argument to me that he's above MJ because that's the type of competition MJ faced and defeated, and a lot of guys in this era are like on par with these guys, if not way better, considering the defensive rules.
yeah.
And the fact that they have no chips to cement that legacy is like more of a testament to Michael Jordan than it is like the players were terrible in that era.
Mhm,
And that is my stance with LeBron. It has never been about LeBron's skill or his game directly. It has
mhm,
been like the unprecedented feat of like how Jordan won his three peats and stuff.
yeah.
Like and that's an unfair bar to put on LeBron, but it's like if you want to be the best at the sport, like, and this is just me and my subjective opinion.
Mhm,
Like, I have no problem with people who never watched much of Michael Jordan and call LeBron the GOAT because they only grew up to see LeBron play as the
mhm,
GOAT because his career that he's had has been legendary enough to be
yeah.
like one of the top 5 of all time, and I'm considering him top 2.
Mhm.
So
No, definitely. I think one big thing for me is just, I mean, is it as a kid, like kid coming out of Akron, he has no father figure. This is a guy who like no mistakes, like off the court, does everything he can. He's just a great guy. So aside from his ball, he's great in other ways.
unbelievable story, man.
Yeah.
Like single mother, like growing up, like to where he is now. Like I think people should not be hating on him.
No.
Granted, I think he has too many trolls. Regardless,
Yeah.
I probably sounds like I'm coming off as a troll right now, but like the thing with LeBron, like he's he's been so far fetched, like that the only other person he has to reach is MJ,
Yeah.
and for to make that argument out of anybody coming out like from the situation he did is like truly like a testament to how well he lived his life and like how well he's playing the sport of basketball. Like he's like if this didn't prove it, like I don't know what else will.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
okay,
But enough
enough about
enough Bron
LeBron.
spiel.
Let's go into more complaining mode with some of the
No.
suspensions.
True.
I
True.
don't know if you saw Draymond and Nurkic get into it last night. That was wild. I think
Oh
Draymond's
my
explanation
god.
for it was like um he was trying. So I think he was trying to say he was trying to flap.
Yeah.
That's well, he said sell the call to the officials. I interpreted it as flap, and
Mhm.
he ended up punching Nurkic instead. And because he punched Nurkic, I didn't see like he probably got thrown out of the game. And then I think from what
Mhm.
I read last in the news, like the league is definitely going to suspend Draymond. I've heard 10 games thrown about. Like
Mhm.
I don't know. Like considering what he's done to Steven Adams, what he just did to Sabonis last season,
Oh my
like
god, it's
obviously what he
insane.
I mean, I think the LeBron thing was kind of like more on LeBron initiating it like smartly and then like Draymond retaliating.
Mhm.
And but like the point is here there's been like a consistent history where
Yeah.
Draymond does this wacky stuff he shouldn't do and then like he gets himself in trouble and it costs the team all the time.
Mhm.
So what do
Yeah.
you think of the suspension? It's probably you're probably not going to disagree with me on this, but what is your angle?
I just to me at this point, and especially I guess the biggest reason because no one like actually gets hurt in any of these situations. But to me, it's absolutely hilarious anytime any of this happens because it just doesn't make any like we're playing basketball here. My man is swinging, he's choking Rudy Gobert, he's stomping on
And he
this.
has kids too. That's the thing. Like
Yeah,
he
like
has kids, so he understands the type of influence like he has like in the league standing. Like he's been
yeah,
like appearing on like NBA TNT. Like he's
yeah,
made like appearances on ESPN and stuff. Like he is a very popular media personality, and that's like a great second gig for him whenever he stops playing.
yeah.
And then like his behavior, like in the moment where he lets the emotions get the best of him, like it's
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 just
very challenging. Like
wild.
half of me like feels bad for these athletes because they're under such scrutiny on the microscope where
Mhm.
like any little thing could agitate you to lash out like this.
Yeah.
But like he's been in the league long enough where he knows like the optics of the situation. Like it's just like disappointing. Like
Mhm.
obviously the John Morant stuff last year has been
Yeah,
disappointing, and then the
that's very
things that have come
disappointing.
out like this year have been like crazy. But like you give like John Moran a little bit of a pass for it just because like he's been 3 or 4 years in the league. But like this is Draymond, man. Like he's
Yeah.
looking to retire in the next 3 to 4 years. Like he's been in the league long enough, and
Mhm.
that's what makes it more upsetting to me.
Yeah. Oh, and then for the suspension, I saw this on Twitter. I think it was like a Woj bomb, but the league's actually not giving a certain amount of games. It's indefinite, and he has to like talk to like go to counseling and stuff to for the NBA to be like, all right, now you can play. So it's not even like a set amount of games. So
Yeah, I don't
it's
know.
been, it's been such a pattern that I think it's valid. And then another thing is Nurkic actually said, and I hadn't thought about this like at all, but he said like, yeah, like I hope that guy is okay. And then he said like he's like, yeah, but he usually does this to foreign players. And if you think about it, the last three, I mean, this one with Nurkic, Sabonis, uh, what was the one? Oh, with Gobert, the Steven
Yeah, I
Adams.
totally forgot. He put Gobert in a chokehold this
Yeah,
season.
like
Like
those three
it's
things, the Nurkic, Sabonis, and I keep forgetting. Sabonis and Gobert.
Gobert.
All three
Yeah.
of those are within like it's December right now, and that was in the playoffs. This was all within 8 months. This guy's doing this. I just don't know. I don't know how this happens. I just hope Draymond could be better, but I'm not too mad because it's just funny to me. But
Yeah.
we'll see what
I
happens.
mean, it's absolutely it's confounding how you constantly put yourself in the same situation because it's like, okay, we get it. If you make one mistake, then like
Mhm.
that obviously doesn't define you as a player. But it's like I feel frustrated for Draymond because it constantly adds validity to the fact that he's a dirty player. I'm
Yeah.
not saying he's a dirty player, but if you look at the repeated actions that he has,
Hmm.
I don't blame people that think that way. I honestly
Yeah.
don't because like of the type of sway he has in the league, in the media, and then despite that, like he's constantly getting suspended at this point.
Hmm.
Um, like, do I think there's extremes where like when he actually plays sound defense and like all offensive players sell like calls that it suddenly
Mm.
becomes a technical the minute he opens his mouth, like and has the wrong attitude about it? Yeah, I think that's an extreme that needs to be corrected. But
Hmm.
you're not helping yourself in this situation by just randomly like punching a dude trying to sell a call yourself. So like
Yeah.
it's like it's I'm also frustrated from this angle too. Like he's looking to get like a second contract or like another career, or
Yeah,
like he's trying to make an impression on like owners and like whoever's like planning to hire him if he wants to pursue this media gig. So,
it's very weird.
Draymond, I hope the best for him, like the best comes out of this situation, but like it's just like the more I read this, it angers me because of the stupidity
Hmm.
for a player that's like has like one of the best defensive IQs like in this era now.
Hmm.
Like the the ironic like the irony is just like
Yeah.
baffling.
And then this I saw a thread on Twitter of just all these like Draymond like dirty plays, and like what it showed like the video of him punching uh oh my god Jordan Poole at the beginning of last year at camp, and it's like one of those like TMZ videos with like the worst quality, and oh,
Oh my
that was
gosh.
just wild. I
I
can't believe
completely
he did
glossed
that.
over that too. And I was
Yeah,
just
like, and that caused a whole rift on the team, and
I
they
I mean
traded Poole because of
I
that.
mean
I feel
at that point, like Poole was acting like a diva. But like I mean, like
like.
Draymond, you're not helping yourself by doing that,
You
you
can't
know?
just punch your own teammate in broad daylight, like
Yeah,
in front of
yeah,
it. Like it was,
yeah.
it's intense. But we'll see where the
Yeah.
Draymond saga goes. I hope. I always hope it's the end because we don't need this at all in basketball. But we'll see.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not UFC.
Yeah, I mean, then we're gonna talk about Jokic getting ejected. So, yeah, cool stuff. Non-basketball related.
This is a
So I
non-basketball
think this
podcast.
was
This one.
Jokic. Jokic had scored a bucket, I think, and this
Hmm.
was like on Levine, like he was cutting, and then there was like a post up, and then like he did like a quick like spin move to get to the basket and stuff, and then I think he might have thought he got fouled on that. So like as he was running back, he was like looking at the ref. He said something. I don't know what he said. It's still not clear what he said to the official. And then um, like during the stoppage and play, he just got ejected
Hmm.
randomly. So
Yeah.
I have noticed this pattern within the last 3 to 4 years. I think the most blatant one is when DeMarcus Cousins was trying to avoid like other basketball players like tripping over a shoe that was on the court. So he
Hmm.
tossed it like out of bounds. Um, I think this is a regular season game when he was on the Warriors or the Kings. I forget.
Okay.
And then he got a technical for that. And I just started dying when I saw that. I was like, how are you gonna get a technical for trying to protect other players from like hurting
Yeah.
themselves, man? Like and I think about the LeBron call against the Celtics last season that
Oh
didn't
my
get
God,
called,
that was
and,
crazy.
Patrick Beverly pointing at the camera to the officials. Yeah, like,
Oh my God.
unbelievable. And I'm just like, I feel like and this is a problem in football too, where, like, there's a
Mhm.
lot of missed calls or, like, calls that shouldn't have been made. What do you think about the officiating that has occurred, like, recently, the past couple of years?
So in terms of like ejecting, especially Tex recently, I forgot who it might have been. Okay, I think it was Jason Tatum. He got ejected because I think so. He dunks it down, holds onto the rim, and it wasn't even like a heinous like holding onto the rim. Like, cause like you hold on the rim, you like shake around on it, like that's a tech straight up. Like I wouldn't be mad about that, but he holds on, he like kind of swings a little bit, lets go, and then he gets called a tech, and talks to the ref, and then he gets a second tech right there in like 2 seconds, and he's out. Stuff like that. Like I think refs at
I don't
times.
I don't I don't think in that situation, like, people understand, like, dunking actually does damage to your hands, like, it's
No,
not good
yeah,
for you. Like, you don't wanna be dunking consistently. So,
and you
like
don't.
and then, like, sometimes we saw this, problem with, like, Zion whenever he was first coming out of the league. Like, he had all this explosiveness, like, bundled inside of him, but whenever he would, like, jump, like, I mean, I was so worried about his landing because like he
Yeah,
didn't land like a normal person, like bracing your jump and like making sure you have like a shock absorption, like he didn't prepare himself for that. And like a lot of times people hang on the rim to like brace themselves when they come back down, so like they're
hmm
not like breaking
and
their
other.
leg or like landing awkwardly, like that they like twist their ankle or anything like that. So
Yeah, a
it's a
big thing.
shame, man.
A big thing too is to protect others, but like refs in general, I feel like have been sorry, I've been slightly sensitive about that. And I understand like getting talked back at, especially in a game where like especially for like refs, sometimes they're always just like, "Oh, like what is it? they just the crowd in general will always just be like fuck you ref or something like that and like be big mad about that and that's reasonable but like I feel like refs had a lot of scrutiny on them and so that included they're always kind of like anxious and if they especially get something wrong and so like a player's in their face obviously someone usually taller than them stronger than them bigger than them that can be kind of scary so I feel like at times too that might take over but uh I feel like a lot of the game as well is kind of just like turn to kind of play to a way that the refs will give you an advantage or like leave play in a way like sort of the James Harden like pull your arm up with the ball with like knowing the
Like
defender's
how
arm is
good
there.
of an acting job can you do so you
Yeah.
can get the call from the refs?
But like
That's what you're trying
how
to
can
say.
you play in a way that makes the ref have to make a decision
Yeah.
and that decision will most likely help you. And that's the whole like James Harden ripped through the the big like remember the 3 point like issue like someone would just be holding the ball not looking at it like they're gonna shoot. Defender puts their arm like kind of across and they're just like, oh, I
And
could
you
just
just like
rip
cook under
up.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So stuff like that, I think the league has helped to get rid of that. And also this year they had some like anti-flopping rules that if it's like a blatant flop, you're getting a tech. Or you're get I think I'm 80% sure it's a tech but you get some sort of foul as that offensive player, which I think is good. But it's also hard to make any of these decisions in real time like that. So
That's why I think there should be like I think it should be reviewable. Like you
mhm,
got to make calls like that reviewable, and you got to. I feel like you need like a separate team, like observing each game. It's gonna
mhm,
open up a lot more jobs for people. But like you just need like a separate team to like be the eyes that the refs can't be to see these angles that they can't
mhm,
and make these calls like in that same snap judgment because there's another issue there. Like if the refs are making so many bad calls where coaches are like trying to get it reviewed. Like the game's gonna go 4 hours. So like you're
mhm.
trying to get in the like in a sense where a basketball game could still take 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
Like you
because
still can get those two challenges, like commercial breaks, like
mhm,
full game action, and get the calls right. Like there needs to be some like accountability here, and I don't think the league has done a good job of enforcing it. And
mhm,
I think their way of enforcing it is like avoiding the players and the coaches from speaking out about it through fines,
mhm.
and that's not good enough because that's not gonna change
The
how the
refs
league is like
themselves.
it's not gonna change the way the game is played now, right?
Mhm,
Because I think there was this, like, crazy Giannis, like, one dribble to, like, a dunk I saw, like, on a
mhm,
highlight, and he did, like, travel a little bit or carry it, but then that now that's, like, gotten so commonplace, like, I think even the James Harden step back by the
mhm.
rule book, I think that's the travel, honestly, if you look at it closely. And
Yeah.
like sometimes, like when it's done correctly, it's a very unique maneuver, but a lot of times it can be considered a travel. And I just think like refs don't call that anymore because it's more like, okay, if it's like a rhythm and dance move instead of like a legal basketball move, it's kind of gives a leeway. So like I think it's just been way different where it's like it's clearly geared towards the offensive players
Mhm,
and some of the enforcement on like fouls that should be called but aren't versus fouls that are called but absolutely like the intent behind the play
mhm.
wasn't a basketball play, it was to get the call. Like those things need to be addressed. Like
Yeah.
and they gotta change from how it's currently addressed in my opinion.
I agree. And then just two quick things. Is one thing I've noticed a lot, especially recently, is refs. So say like player A goes takes a shot, gets fouled. The foul isn't called right when it happens though. The shot goes up, does its thing on the rim, and then after it misses, the other team might have gotten the rebound. Ref calls the foul then after it misses. That's a big thing for me especially because like if you're watching your team play and you see your guy get hacked or well, your team is playing defense, and you're like, oh, that might have been a foul, and you're like, oh, we got away with it, let's go, and he misses, and you get the board, and then it's just like, nope, that was a foul. Like you gotta call the foul when it happens because
Yeah, because like the other team it's like reacting prematurely too, like on the offensive
yeah,
side, like, bro, he got fouled, he got fouled.
hmm
Like a neighboring ref might be like, "Well, stop like back talking to our calls or something like that," and they'll get attacked.
Yeah.
unnecessarily. Like so, like it's just like you got to make it timely. Like if it's wrong, you have a separate team to review that it's wrong and hold you accountable to make the right calls, because it is a tough balance to do it, but it's like you still got to call the games correctly.
Hmm.
And this is not just an issue in basketball. I've noticed it a lot with football too. Um, like roughing the passer and like pass interference, especially. Like it's just like how can you not review those plays? How can you not review those calls? Because those swing outcomes of games.
Hmm.
The swing outcomes of games, and based on those outcomes, it can affect like players' jobs, coaches' jobs, and stuff like that. And it's like you don't want to leave it like off of an assessment that wasn't complete because it was called incorrectly,
Hmm.
if that
Yeah.
makes sense. So
Yeah.
that's definitely things that got it like this shouldn't be happening. Like, and I'm saying this as the Jokic played the Bulls. We still
Hmm.
lost when he didn't
Oh
play.
yeah.
But like I think that was the most amount of Serbians that showed up in an NBA game. That
Hmm.
too. So think about what they're thinking. Like they're coming to watch Jokic play in Chicago because like
Yeah.
Chicago here is one of the biggest international airports. Like it's easy to move around and get to United Center to see a player like Jokic.
Hmm.
And then like your guy gets ejected in the middle of the
Yeah.
game for talking to an official. Like and then also like to be fair, like the players also gotta be accountable too. Like you can't just say whatever the hell you
Yeah.
want when
You
like
can.
these officials are kind of critiquing your way of play and sportsmanship. Like
Mhm.
you do need to show sportsmanship when you play. So like there's that side of accountability. And this goes for coaches too.
No, yeah. And then just second things, I think in soccer they have this thing called the VAR, video assisted referee. And it's basically like a group of refs somewhere else, but they have like a bunch of computers and the computers like check an offsides call and stuff like that. And I think the NBA and especially NFL too, like these big sports like leagues just haven't thought of using technology at all.
They can afford it. They can easily
Yeah,
afford it.
that's what
And
I'm
like
saying.
this is like the exact same thing I was thinking of. I'm glad you brought it up. Like this would be so easy to implement. Like
Hmm.
you create more jobs, one, that's gonna be good for the economy. And two, like you're gonna call these games correctly. So you're gonna have more people interested in watching the games because you know the games are gonna get called correctly. So it's only gonna help your business too, in addition to creating more jobs. And like three, you're gonna get more players that actually have a passion for the game that will play to their heart's content, and that's gonna increase like the fan appreciation for the players, and then also like the viewership counts as well. So like
Hmm.
there are multiple ways that this can lead to profitability. Like you just got to spend a little bit of money that it takes to do this the right way.
Yeah, and I mean, like I feel like there's always a side of like technology versus like a human doing with the work, but like at least especially if you set it up right, just having like the ball set up in a certain way that it can be tracked by cameras and such, like that. Like anytime I play basketball and I don't know if it's out or in, like for a call or whatever, I don't say anything because I don't know. I can't objectively say whether what it was, so that's
They
why I
could
kind of like
easily do
technology.
that. They could easily
Yeah.
track the ball if they wanted to in motion capture technology. They do that for athletes that are recovering right now.
Hmm.
They do that to like assess range of motion and like baseball pitchers and stuff like that. That's the technology that could easily be put in games if needed.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, if you can have like a coworker was telling me about how you can because he's big into VR, you could watch a NBA game courtside with a VR headset. If you could just do that for the ball, like set up cameras. I don't know. Me knowing nothing about the NBA's business margins,
Yeah,
profit,
I mean,
but
I would hope
I
that's
think
those person's eyes are good after watching a full
yeah,
game, like, with a VR headset and then taking it off and stuff, but a lot of good ideas here. I think, like, there's basically, there's a lot of ways to adjust, like, how it's currently called.
yeah,
I honestly think the leagues, for as much money as they make, are gotten too lazy,
a
and
little bit,
like
yeah,
addressing these things are gonna it's only gonna make the games like that much enjoyable, because if you can't tell, Diego and I love basketball and we hate seeing it called this way. Like
yeah.
it makes it unenjoyable and we still watch it anyway because we're toxic. So
Basketball
there's that.
sickos.
Exactly, man.
Yeah.
um all right, on that note, let's talk about Zion. We need to talk about Zion, so see the negative context there. um
Hmm.
The context for this is he was playing against the Lakers, and LeBron and AD looked in better shape than he did. And I don't remember if it was like ESPN, like Stephen A was actually not joking about this. He was actually being completely serious about this, and he's like, you could see Zion's belly bounce when he was taking free throws the entire time, and I'm like, and I'm just hearing this, and I'm like, oh my goodness, has it been that bad this season for the Pelicans? Like, this is the first thing we think of when we think Zion Williamson, and not the number two overall pick. No, number one overall pick that
Mhm.
like was a generational talent. And I was just like, how far did he's fallen since like the summer? Like, what's going on with Zion, Diego?
I I don't know, man. I mean, I've heard stuff like that too on Twitter. People are saying that like chefs in New Orleans want him to eat at their restaurants because he's gonna eat a table. Like, like I understand that maybe he's not in the best shape, and that's on him, right? He's gotta kind of focus on that. It's just with Zion, it feels like everything besides his play, and his play hasn't been great, but it's been okay. I mean, he's been scoring a reasonable amount of points, but I know last year when the Pelicans were really looking good, he was playing a different level of basketball, and so I don't know if it's a lack of focus, if it's he's stressed, whatever. I just hope the best for him, and I think I don't know. I think he just needs to just focus just on ball. There's been so much other stuff in his life. Everything that happened in the summer with like Mariah Hill or something like that.
Right, Hills,
Whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, Mills, whatever. Like he just got and like I thought he kind of moved on from that well at the beginning of the season, but now that he's looking a bit chunkier, I guess he's not playing as well. So I just hope he gets locked back in.
I mean, to
Uh,
his credit, like he did have 36 points against the Timberwolves.
yeah.
So like hopefully that's the start of something. Um, and we don't want to spend too much time on this one because we don't want to fat shame a player. Like that's not the
Nah.
intent here. This is I'm just going based on what I've heard. I have not seen a single thing of like Zion play, like
Yeah.
how he's looked. So like I need to get on that, but I thought that was just something we needed to address because it's like
It's
I
tough.
think it just goes to show, like, especially with, like, Lonzo Ball is a perfect case of this too.
Hmm.
Like, we look at players like Zion and Lonzo, and they're, like, generational players, like, coming out of the draft. Like, there's so much a hype and buzz around them,
Hmm.
and then when they don't hit the immediate, like, dopamine gratification we want to experience when they
Yeah.
see them play, we just label them as, like, busts or, like, fat in this case,
Hmm.
and, like, can't produce and whatnot. And Zion still has that potential to be on the best player on this team, and the Pelicans absolutely have the potential to finish as like one of the best teams in the West
Hmm.
because as Zion plays to his potential, they have two number one options on the same team with Brandon Ingram and Zion.
Hmm.
CJ McCollum's been a fantastic number two in his career in Portland. He's going to be a huge get for them. They already have Valanciunas there.
Yeah.
Um, like they have a lot of they. I'm forgetting the shooting guard. That's a
Trey Murphy, Herb
Trey
Jones.
Murphy's been really good for them. And then there was a point guard who's like a really good defender.
Jose Alvarado, GTA.
Yes, him too. But there was somebody else. Who am I? I gotta look at their roster, man. Because I can't think of the player right now.
Point guard.
Not Alvarado.
Marshall. I mean, he's not a point guard though. Najee
Herbert
Marshall.
Jones. Herbert Jones. He's
Oh
not
yeah,
a he
he's
picks
like
up guards, but he's like a shooting forward. Yeah.
yeah, he's
I
he's a
really like
defender.
him. Like they have a lot of great talent around Zion.
Hmm.
Like if he just plays to that, like they have a like they have a really good roster. If they don't have like a bunch of like all stars around him, like but like they have a lot of guys that can fill their roles, and they're very top heavy with Ingram and Zion when Zion plays to his potential. So that's where I think some of the frustration comes from, like the mainstream media on this.
Hmm.
But like it goes to show, like there, there's not a lot of players with like the Kobe MJ mindset now, or like even
Yeah.
the Shaq mindset. I think Shaq was saying like he used to be like this in the second year,
Hmm.
like scoring 20 a game, but he realized he could score 30 or 40 a game, like when he has built in the right habits of that. And Zion has that same exact potential, even though like he has a different build than like Shaq. Like he can still dominate like in a
Yeah.
different way because of his explosiveness. Because even with like Wemby, like Zion has an advantage over Wemby because he's explosive and he has the size to take him on. Like
Yeah.
though those are the types of matchups you see. Like not many power forwards can move like as quickly as Zion. Even LeBron,
Yeah.
like when I watch like Zion move explosively and LeBron move explosively, I can't tell the difference. Of like this is like Zion at his peak. Like don't get me wrong. Like Zion at his peak could like he brought LeBron comparisons. So like not everybody can be LeBron or Michael Jordan. And I feel like he was dealing with that weight of the pressure on it.
Hmm.
And it's you hope he turns it around this season because he was a fun watch when he was at Duke. I'll say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. The block 3 pointers, crazy dunks, just the power. The power this guy has is through the roof, and so
Especially because he was undersized for a power forward and blocking
six
three pointers was
six.
equally impressive. Like Wemby, you understand why he can block three pointers because like his wingspan is just crazy.
Hmm.
But like Zion, like you actually have to have like elite timing and whatnot. And it's that elite timing where it's just like, wow,
Yeah.
like this guy could be as good as like peak LeBron.
Yeah. It's
So
possible. You just got to get his mind right. So we'll see how that goes.
yeah, hope all the best for him. Hope all the best for Jokic and Draymond. Like Jokic, I'm not too worried about, but like Draymond and Zion is like guys that real they have to make like habitual changes, otherwise it's not going to be looking like a good season.
Yeah.
With that, thank you guys for listening to our downer episode. um, we promise we'll get more positive basketball content for you guys. We know how much you guys enjoy it. Follow us on our Instagram at amon.a.mission. Diego, any parting words for us?
Mm. Mavs beat the Lakers. Was it last time? Last night. You know, basically
Good.
IST champions off a back to
Okay.
back. Okay,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
but things are going well. Hopefully, even though we're down a few guys, but overall not too bad. Hope everyone has a great week. Christmas season, holiday season's coming up. Like really getting in the thick
Yes.
of it.
Enjoy the holidays, everybody. Uploads might not be like as speedy during that time. I know
Yeah.
I'll be out for a little bit visiting San Diego with the
Yo,
family, so it should be fun.
that's gonna be
Um,
fun. Yeah.
what about you, Diego?
I'm just going back home. That's it. Seeing my family.
Going back to Chi Town. Love to hear it.
Yeah.
All right. Peace out, everybody. Enjoy your night.